Hello, dear colleagues who have joined us recently, and thank you all who have been staying with us from the previous talk. It is Quality Engineering Community Day 2023 that is conducted by the Global Testing and Pro Quality communities. We are happy to see all of you with us. My name is Alexander Panchenko. I'm working on a position of Software Testing Manager at EPAM Systems Lithuania, and today I will be the moderator of this session. Dear listeners, reminding you that you can leave your questions both on YouTube chat and on via community platform, depending on where you're watching the conference. In case you will have some of the questions after the session, you can address them into Discord. Our speakers will answer them after the session. And please also note that this session is being recorded and all of the recordings will be available in a week after the session. Please meet our next speakers, Nilam Ghorpade from Pune and Katsiaryna Rutkevich from Minsk with the topic Scary Tale, Project Without Test Manager. Hi Nilam, hi Kate, how are you doing today?
Yeah, thanks Alex, thank you so much, and I'm doing great, and thank you for inviting us, and we are really excited for this session. Yeah.
Great. Kate, what about you?
Yeah, hello everyone. Thanks for this great time with you, for this opportunity to share our experience. And I am also very excited to share this scary tale with you.
We are waiting for that. But before that, we can warm up before the presentation will begin. So, dear test managers, so you today will speak about the test management role, right? But you're working in different countries, as we can see, in a different time zones. So, was it hard for you to sync with the to sync between you to one goal? To prepare the presentation for this conference? Was it hard?
Actually, let me start. It was not hard, but we enjoyed. We had a fun, and we really enjoyed the collaboration with Kate, even though we are working in a different time zone. So we managed, like sometime Kate was joining early to connect with me. Sometime I stayed late to connect with her. But it was a nice experience, and it was a fun collaborating with Kate for this presentation. And thanks to you for giving us this opportunity to collaborate with each other and present our scary tale here.
Yes, thank you. This is a great pleasure for us to have you too as well. Katsiaryna, what about you?
Yeah, I absolutely support each word from Nilam, and that was a great experience. First of all, to collaborate, to share experience between two of us, to prepare this topic, to align and to make it interesting for everyone. So our collaboration was a great pleasure, I would say. And it was not hard. It was a pleasure.
Okay, great to hear that. So the floor is yours. So take care of it. And yeah, please proceed with your presentation.
Thank you. Okay, so hello everyone, and hope all of you are doing good. And today, before going to start with our scary tale, let me introduce myself. I'm Nilam Ghorpade, working with EPAM as a senior software test engineer, having 11 plus of years experience in a software testing and handling QA team. And today we are going to talk about the project without test manager and what is the need of test management in a project. So I'm going to talk about what is the need of test management in a project and what if we don't have a test management in the project. And Kate, our brigade test manager, is going to narrate her scary tale as a test manager. So let's move ahead and let's start with why we need test management and what is test management. So as we all know, test management is the process to ensure that end-to-end testing is going good to deliver the high-end software testing product. So in test management, we ensure the quality, visibility, monitoring and controlling the testing processes. So it is the practice of analysis, estimation, planning, monitoring, and control. But what if we don't have a test management in a project? Like, have you ever worked on any project where the test management is not there? So let's see. If not, then what will happen if we don't have a test management in project? And let's move ahead. So the first thing, risk. Risk, the word itself is sufficient to increase the stress of any test manager. And what if you haven't analyzed the risk before starting your project? What will happen? What if you haven't identified the risk before starting your project? And if you haven't identified the risk, then how will you mitigate that risk? Then you cannot control that risk when it will become an issue for you. So risk can be of any type. It can be organizational risk, it can be your business risk, it can be a technical risk. So to handle all this thing, you need to identify the risk before, and only if you identified that risk, and then only you can handle and control that risk if it become an issue for you. Suppose for an example, your requirement, test requirement is not clear before your project kickoff, and after that the requirement is changed in a way that it deviates your scope, your time, your cost of the testing. Then what will happen? And you are not ready for such situation, and you haven't documented or such undesirable events, so you cannot control that. So for a successful project delivery, you have to start with the risk analysis. You have to identify your risk, and you have to evaluate that risk. So let's move ahead and talk about the forecast. So that is a test estimation. So many times it happens like team give efforts or testing efforts according to the development efforts. Like suppose if we are having like 8 days we need for development, so okay, 1 or 2 days are sufficient for the testing. So many times it happens, and you may have experienced the time crunch for the testing. And maybe many times or at some point in your career, you may have experienced this, like you got the build late and you have a very little time for the testing. You don't have a separate test estimation and like that. And what is the result of this? It will impact your quality of the deliverable, right? So before, why we need a separate test estimation? Because if you give the rough test estimate according to the development, you will not consider the time of regression, the bug retest, and everything. So for considering all these things, you need to have a separate test estimation, and you have to consider the separate testing efforts for your project. So impact of quality of deliverables. It will reduce overall customer satisfaction. And if you have given a wrong cost estimate, so it may lead to a shelf project, because suppose you need to deliver your project by the New Year Eve or any specified timeline. You got the bid 2 days before of your release date. You find severe defects, and you don't have a time to retest that defect, or you don't have a time for the regression to check the impact of that fixes, and you how you will release that, because it will impact overall your system. So for that, the separate test estimation is necessary in your project. So this is about our testing forecast, and let's move ahead to the next one, and that is the planning. So planning, can you imagine a test team without a planning? What will be the situation of the test team? Like, there is no roles and responsibilities, dedicated roles and responsibilities, no clear objective of testing, no exit criteria defined, no project testing scope defined. How will testing team work, and how they will survive, how they will manage to deliver the quality of the project? So without a dedicated or assigned roles and responsibilities, you it may happen that you will lose any important aspect of your system. It will be left undone or untouched, or testing team don't know, like there is already a time crunch for the testing, and 2 testers are working on the same task, and so on. So there are a number of possibilities if you don't have a proper roles and responsibilities defined for your team. And suppose there is a no test objective. Testing don't know, like what kind of testing types we need to perform to test our system perfectly. Like if there is a need of performance testing, is there a need of security testing? There is a no clear test objective, what kind of testing we need to do on our system. So no clear test objective, no clear testing, and no clear quality of the project. So, and your testing team don't know, like where to stop, where to end the testing process, or there is a no scope defined, and so on. So there are so many reasons why we need a test plan, and there are so many consequences if we are not having a proper testing planning of a testing in our project. So basically, from my perspective, if there is a no test planning your project, there are chances your overall project objective may fail. So this is about planning, and let's move ahead, and let's talk about test monitoring and control. So you planned everything, you estimated everything, you have a nice planning and everything, but what if you are running out of resources? You are not having a proper test monitoring process, like you don't have a dashboards and anything, and you are not aware, like before release, how many defects are open in your system, like how many priority 1 defects are there which needs to be fixed before release, what is the impact of fixes of that release, because you are not having the visuals of what is the testing progress, like how many test cases are executed, how many test cases are still in failed status. So how will you say that your testing is complete? And if there is a no test coverage, like how you can assure that all the requirements are tested successfully, and how many requirements are still untested, or you don't have a test cases for that defect. You cannot measure the performance of test team, like who is doing what. You don't have anything, and if you don't have a monitoring process, so you cannot control this, because you are not monitoring your testing process. Then how can you control? So it is necessary to have your test monitoring in process, because you need to control your testing processes at some point of time. So this is about a test monitoring. And yeah, so what if you don't have a test management in a place? You don't have whatever I talked in last 5 minutes. You don't have all these things in place. No risk identification, no risk mitigation. The poor estimation, it will lead to a poor quality of test deliverables. No test planning, that means your chaos in your testing team, unorganized testing team. You don't have a test monitoring process, you don't have a visuals of your testing progress, and you cannot demonstrate your stakeholder what is going on, how many defects are still open, how many what is the progress of your testing. So what will happen? So and at last, what will be the result of this? No test management. The result of this is a delayed product, the poor quality, the poor user experience, and unhappy customer. And at last, you will lose your business. So doesn't it scary? Yeah. So I guess to handle all this thing, we need to have a dedicated test manager to control all these testing processes. To manage all these testing processes, we need to have a test manager. And Kate now will share her a real life experience, how she managed all this chaos in the project where there was no test management and how she handled it. So I'm pretty sure that after this session, each one of you will be taking care of your testing processes very seriously after listening to the Kate before experiences such as scary scenarios. So I'm pretty sure that you will be taking care of your testing processes now forth. And thanks for listening. I appreciate your listening, and over to you, Kate.
Thanks a lot, Nilam. Thanks a lot for your presentation. That was really great. Dear audience, let me introduce myself. My name is Kate. I am software testing manager in EPAM. And just some facts about myself, like more than 11 years in testing discipline, 8 years in people management, 7 years in test management. And today I'm going to share with you my scary tale about project suffering from not having established test management. And together we will see if this tale has happy end or not. So let's start. Once upon a time, there was a project without test manager. And as you heard earlier already from the previous speaker, Nilam, that many challenging things were going on in the project. In particular, 3 vendors were working on the same product, and they had absolutely different scope, different approaches, different team setup, and in general, own vision on everything. Also, absence and even chaos in processes due to lack of aligned approach, one more pain on that project. All teams didn't follow any testing strategy. They had no idea how about release management, data quality approach, no quality gates, etc., and they lived in their own team's world. There also were communication issues between all teams. Some people, even didn't know each other. So they had no defined areas of responsibilities for integration points, led to lack of ownership, therefore significant gaps in testing. And one more, that upcoming first release in 1 month cannot be moved. So at the same time, team didn't understand whether the product is ready to be released or not and how this should be delivered to production. Is it scary? Absolutely. But no worries, because EPAM fairy called test manager joined the project and do some magic there. Basically, I was that favorite test manager, and in my initial scope of work, is described on the slide, and everything and even more was done and was finished within given 3 months. So I conducted an audit of existing processes, found many gaps, as you already probably understood, and I suggested different improvements. I defined quality gates requirements, like, for example, requirements for unit tests, for security scans, smoke tests running in the pipeline. Also improved collaboration between teams. Actually, I was the one connecting people, introducing to each other. One more point, pain point, release management. It was a huge gap, especially considering upcoming go live. Honestly, teams has no clue how they are going to release. So I defined release management strategy according to approved development process. I introduced and played release manager role for a while. I was coordinating all teams, established communication path, and thanks to this effort, all teams managed to release to production without any major issues following a aligned approach. It was not easy at all, but this miracle happened, and I'm proud of it. And you know, the first list of improvements was extended because it was much more than initial scope. So I even managed to do even more magic on that project. So in particular, increased maturity of testing process, setup of test strategy. For example, unit test coverage has been increased, and for some repos from 0 to like 50 coverage, and the teams are working further on this. Regression testing was introduced. All testing was moved from dev to test environment. Test cases were created and executed within iteration, not later. And feature toggles implementation also was initiated and managed by myself, of course, with help of their leads. Data quality. The application that the team was working on was data-driven, and this was absolutely must-have to have accurate data for customer. And we started automating data quality checks and found issues, fixed them before the customer found them and reported them. That's great. Automation, automation was not implemented at all. There was a dedicated QA automation engineer, but the scope of work for him, the strategy was not defined at all. And I was the one who defined this approach. And for now, the smoke test is running in the release pipeline, automated smoke test plus data quality checks already automated. And these guys working on extension of automation suite on the project, like critical path automation. What else? Prepared go live testing plan for major releases, including UIT regression with different exit entry criteria. List of risks with mitigation plan was provided and discussed with project management. Priorities for our work were adjusted to according to these risks. What else? Quality metrics, and test result reporting also was introduced and helped to raise the visibility of quality on the product. Moreover, suggested and implemented changes in Azure DevOps project settings helped to further improve the release management, backlog handling, testing progress, metrics collection, etc., etc. What else? Well, also, I shared my experience on previous project concerning handling the production issues, and I contributed into support process establishment on the project. So there was some magic in other areas, but we are limited in time, so I will concentrate mostly on some significant achievements. And there are those major miracles that happen thanks to this fairy test manager magic on the project. First one, effective release management process. I already mentioned this, but just I believe you remember that there were no releases to production at all. And thanks to this established release management process during approximately 5 months, team managed to deliver 17 successful releases. Great result indeed. And thanks to this established transparent processes, development team right now is able to deliver 2 releases per week. At the same time, the delivery process is quite flexible. Of course, sometimes we had to postpone release due to some found critical issue. This was communicated to project management, to customer, and everyone agreed, fix the issue, deliver the fix, releases, and everyone were happy. So it was huge effort from both development and QA team, but this happened and everyone is happy. What else? One more miracle, that all these miracles basically wouldn't be possible without effective, improved collaboration between teams. For example, if we found any issue or dependency, one-day resolution become possible. Previously, it was impossible at all. And people started actually collaborating, for example, in feature implementation, during planning, not in the middle or in the end of testing or development phase. And this, the collaboration also with end users, with business improved, and this helped to escape a request to, redo something that is already implemented. And probably the most exciting miracle, happy customer, of course. Customer satisfaction has been improved by 14%. I personally received very positive feedback on my work, approach, ideas, dedication. And for example, I had meetings, bi-weekly, weekly, with director, with digital director on customer side, and she said that the team should have more managers, such test managers as me, because this helped to customer to see working processes, not just processes on the paper, but the processes that are working. They have better understanding of the quality, what's going on, and finally they got the product on production. And all this feedback was shared during different meetings, and like UAT, digital review, etc., etc. Great results. Would you agree? So I have some moral from my scary and probably not so scary tale, as you see, that if you have dedicated test manager, you can be sure that you will have an order on your project. You will have processes in place, you will have great team collaboration, and you will have great results. Next point, that if you think that you improve everything, you most likely wrong, because there is always space for improvement, and you can improve and make your customer happy and happy again and again, and you can increase the quality of the application as well. One more stuff, vendors. Having different vendors working on the same product, this might be challenging, but no worries. Just invite experienced test manager on your project, and he will help to manage everything and to align all teams and make all teams follow one goal. And one more stuff, that consider both client and team interest. Organize the process in the effective way, and please don't bring extra bureaucracy, extra processes just for processes. Just make the processes that will work daily, and let the team and customer fall in love with your approach and with work and processes that you established on the project. And if you act as test manager this way, I'm sure that you will reach success, and basically happy end will happen even for some scary tales. So remember that test manager is more than just a story about testing. This is about everything on the project, about processes, communication, order, and processes in general. That was my story. I was happy to share this with you and hope you enjoyed this. Thanks.
Thank you, Nilam. Thank you, Katsiaryna. Thank you for your interesting tale that was presented to us today. So, dear listeners, I'm encouraging you to use our YouTube chat and we are community to ask the questions from our presenters. But before that, I want to ask some of the questions from myself. So you said that you said a lot of benefits about having the test manager on a project, but did you see the project without test manager? How does it look like?
Yeah, actually, I haven't only seen. I've worked in such a project, so I know what is the situation if we don't have any leading personality to like a guide testing team or to handle the testing team. Because what happens, as I already covered this in my presentation, that many times it happens that team doesn't consider the testing efforts separately. So testing team will always in a time crunch, like testing team getting the bills late, like before 1 or 2 day before the release date, and we need to finish the testing within the 2 days, and it will be really difficult. It was really difficult to handle at that time, but we were not having anyone like who can say no, my team is like no, my team cannot finish this work in 2 days, like we need to have some better plan for a testing team to finish their regression first. We are not completed our regression and everything. So yeah, it was a really difficult for whole team. Like we were like a 7 dev and 2 QAs, we were working, and we were not having a sufficient time for the testing for the every release, and we were always like no, we got a build 2 days before and we need more time for testing. But at that time, like we were having extended working hours and everything, because we were not getting the builds at time, and we were not having a test manager at a place to manage all this thing, or to ask the developer, or to ask client. So we are not done with our testing and everything, and we need to delay our delay our release because of we are not completed the testing, and we are not ensuring the quality because of XYZ reasons. So for all, there are so many reasons why we need test manager, and it was a really difficult for at some situation, because if we are not having anyone to take a testing team in front.
Yeah, thank you for your answer. Looks like really scary. Yeah, we have some of the words of gratitude from our YouTube chat. Sophia says, cool story. Zarif says, thank you for such a great presentation. And we have one question from Tatiana. Katya, how did you improve working on backlog?
Thanks a lot for your question. Yeah, I probably didn't mention details during my presentation. So everything started from at the beginning, when before this first go live, when I asked product owners, please provide me the list of user stories that's supposed to be released. I received response only from one team. 2 other teams were handling backlog in some way. And this was impossible to get this information, how many stories are going to be delivered. Therefore, I cannot check the traceability, whether they were covered by testing, whether they had some open bugs, etc., etc. And when I started investigating the backlog, I saw that like huge mess, not aligned organization of the backlog between teams. And I communicated with, I had a few meetings with product owners who were like handling the backlog. I clarified with them that, guys, let's have the following certain structure. Let's tag our stories, or add the like release field. Let's fill release field and see that we are working like on some certain scope. Moreover, I introduced definition of ready for user stories, because when I started querying by the description, estimation, I saw completely, like I saw the user story with estimation 80 story points, imagine. And this in the comment there was mentioned like 6 days are needed to complete this. And I was asking, guys, what's going on? And I aligned the teams. I also invited some certified Scrum Master who described how this should be handled, like some basic rules, because probably not everyone were aware of this, and defined and agreed about the definition of ready, definition of done, and all like estimation, how we should provide estimate, which acceptance criteria should be there, and teams started working like following this. Testing and acceptance of stories became much more easier, and development as well. So that's how I did it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, thank you very much. And yeah, we have some activity in our YouTube chat, and we have one comment and one question, but I will announce them together. But because to my mind, this is something like around the one topic. The comment is as follows. Nice story, but in my opinion, the same can be done by lead software testing engineer or even senior software testing engineer, of course, if he or she has knowledge and experience. So it's it looks like that our author is saying that that the same work can be done by the other levels in testing. But what we have in a question, can some other role on the project test lead together with project manager or scrum master to perform the same activities test manager did? So as you can see, the comment and the questions are like about one question. Could those activities be done by someone else, whether the testing discipline representative or someone else? So please respond.
I probably have an answer because you know, on my project I actually left the project, and like this question in the air, will this project survive after my leaving, right? And basically, yeah, if you it depends on the context of your project. If it's complex, if it has many dependencies, if there are some issues in collaboration effectiveness, test manager is must have at least to establish everything, establish processes, to monitor that teams get used to this process and started following this. And they then, for example, like in my cases, I hand over some stuff, some responsibilities to testing team lead on the project, also to delivery manager, to project manager. Different stuff was like delivered, but you know, usually people won't have enough capacity to handle all this stuff if your role is not dedicated, like you are not test manager, but you need to do some other stuff, then it's probably better to distribute all these tasks between team members. But first of all, if you have problems, you need the test manager to establish everything and make it work. Then you can just hand over the stuff.
Thank you very much. So the response makes sense. Thank you, Kate. And we have only 2 minutes left for this time slot. I will announce the last question, so please be short. And if you will have something to say, Nilam or you, Kate, so please move this conversation to Discord then. What strategies must be adapted to align testing with development release? As at end, we are only one with story still end. So this is how the question looks like.
Yeah, I would like to take this answer and also need to add something in the previous question. Actually, currently, I'm handling the team as a QA lead. We don't have any dedicated test manager. I'm handling my own task of deliveries. I need to deliver the build, right? In this same question, here it is written that at the end we are only one with the stories left till end, right? Because the tester is the only one who has the stories till end. So I'm the one who has the story still end, and I am the one who need to send the testing reports. I am the one who need to create the testing dashboards and everything. So we cannot handle everything. So that's why we need a test manager, because we cannot handle at the time of delivery. What will the test lead do? He will do his testing. He will review the testing team's works, or he will create the dashboards. He will create the testing reports and everything. So there are so many different tasks which we need to perform as a QA lead or as a senior software test engineer, because we need to deliver the build, we need to give the sign off for our features and everything. So I guess it is a pretty much difficult to handle both the roles at the same time, and that's why I'm here with the Kate. So as a lead QA, and she's here as a test manager, and that's why we both are collaborating to give this idea. And about the second question, to align with
sorry, I need to interrupt you, Nilam, because we're running out of time. I propose you to take this question to Discord, and I want to thank you very much for this presentation. Thank you very much, and have a nice day. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, everyone. Have a nice day. Hope you enjoyed our presentation.
Bye.